Languages don't just die naturally. People abandon mother tongue because they forced to. Often the pressure is political. In 1892, the U.S. Army General Richard Henry Pratt argued that killing indigenous cultures were only alternative to killing indigenous people. Kill the Indian, he said, but save the man. And until 1978, the government did just that, removing indigenous children from their families and forcing them into boarding school, where they were given English names and punished for speaking their languages. Assimilation was a complement to genocide. 7,000 languages are alive today, but few are recognized by their own government and supported online. So for people from the vast majority of cultures, globalization remains profoundly alienating. It means giving up our language for someone else. And if nothing changes, as many as 3,000 languages could disappear in 80 years. But things are changing. Around the world, people are revising ancestral languages and rebuilding their cultures. As far as we know, language reclamation began in the 1018s, when at the time of raising anti-Semitism, Jewish communities looked to their ancestral language, Hebrew, as a means of cultural revival, and thought it had been dominant for over 1,000 years. It was well preserved in books of Jewish religion and philosophy, so Jewish activities study and taught it to their children, raising to first native speaker in nearly 100 generations. Today is the mother tongue of 5 million Jews, and at least for me, unassimilated English-speaking members of the Jewish disapproval, a pillar of cultural sovereignty. 2,000 years later, we are still here. Now, until recently, Hebrew's reawakening was an anomaly. Few languages are as well preserved as our words. And the creation of Israel, the first Jewish state, is in over 1,000 years, provided a space for Hebrew's daily use. In other words, multicultural just weren't given a chance. The word Cornish, the ancestral language for Cornwall, which today is technically a country in southern England. In the 19th, the Cornish activists fought for their culture. The language had been dominant for over 1,000 years, but they used opals and they played to teach it to their children. However, this new generation of Cornish speakers was scattered across Cornwall and unable to use the language freely. By the 1990s, Cornish had reawakened, but it wasn't thriving. Then, in the early 2000s, Cornish speakers found one another online and digital space to speak only a daily basis. From there, they organized weekly or monthly events when they could gather and speak in public. Today, some schools teach Cornish. There are Cornish language sites, ice cream commercials, Wikipedia, and even memes. And with their language once again intact, the people of Cornwall have secured recognition as a Celtic nation alongside Ireland, Scotland, and Wales. They stared out centuries of forced assimilation and said, "We are not a county in England, we are people in our own right." And we're still here, and they are not the only ones. The Tunica Biloxi tribe of Louisiana is reviving their ancestral language. It started in 1980s when Donald Parrott and her family started taking trips to Baton Rouge and New Orleans to photocopy a dictionary stored away in University archives. The goals were to study Tunica and teach it to the children and share it with the community. Today, they are leading a Tunica renaissance. Since 2014, there are nearly 100 speakers in language immersion classes, and according to a 2017 census, 32 new fluent speakers, some of whom, like Donald's daughter Elizabeth, are teaching Tunica to their children. These new speakers are creating content, Facebook videos, and also memes. And the more they publish, the more they inspire other Tunica people to get involved. Recently, a tribal member living in Texas wrote Elizabeth on Facebook asking how to say bless the lands. It was for a yard sale, so she could show her neighbors that her culture is alive and thriving today. Now, Hebrew, Cornish, and Tunica are just three examples from groundswell of language activism on every continent. And whether they are Jira speakers from Channel Isles or Kano-sized language speaker from Nairobi, or communities working to preserve or reclaim a language have one thing in common: media. So their language can be shared and taught. And as the internet grows, expanding media access and creation, preserving and reclaiming ancestral languages is now more possible than ever. So what are your ancestral languages? Mine are Hebrew, Yiddish, Hungarian, and Scottish Gaelic, even though I was raised in English. And luckily for me, each of these languages is available online. Hebrew is in particular, it came installed on my iPhone. It is supported by Google Translate, and it even has autocorrect. And while your language may not be as widely supported, I encourage you to investigate, because chances are somewhere someone has started in getting online. Reclaiming your language and embracing your culture is a powerful way to be yourself in the age of globalization. Thank you.